definitely.
And we're here for December draft, round one, game one. Racer X, the mystery man, versus dogs with actual dogs. Sending all clear.
Yeah,
And
yeah, kicking us off with a matchup of these two. Dogs' name is actually Slow Ass Dogs, to be clear, due to pick speed.
yeah, he's got some middling speed. A few Mon get a little faster, depending on using the scarf or not. But kicking it off with the number one pick of the draft, Landorus T, immune to the sandstorm, gains benefits, and kicks off the stealth rock. But he's faster, and rock slide, although stab will not gain the benefit of the flinch possibility being slower, and that Landorus took it really well. So nice start.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. You got to pivot this Tyranitar out now. The question is, what do you go into? Do you want to threaten that Lando immediately with the ice? The Lando is also free now to U-turn or knock off and just kind of get up to some antics.
Yeah, I think I like. I don't like moving to the clef key. I think I'd maybe consider going to melodic here. Um, the ice Pokemon could be a little risky because you don't want to get hit by a stab earthquake. But we'll see what he does, because if he presses earthquake, this could be big damage. Yeah, whew, big damage. Kyurem, although he has wings, he is not flying. So
And we can see the sandstorm kind of counteracting those leftover ticks there. The Lando just able to sit in it unaffected.
yeah, no leftovers there would be nice, but at this point, yeah, he decides to pull him out. I guess afraid of exactly what we see there, the ice beam. And Kyurem has the ability to go both physical and special, so you have to kind of be nimble with what kind of wall you're using.
But no U-turn, so that's going to open up that Lando's move pool a little bit more.
Yeah, maybe he wanted Earthquake and Knockoff. And look at that big damage. That's what I mean there with the physical hitting the Suicune. The Calm Mind buff isn't going to be very valuable there. But the Ice Beam taking it down, Suicune is apparently faster in this case than the Kyurem, so the normal effectiveness Ice Beam because of the Dragon typing.
Yeah, very solid play by Reckless, paying attention to his speed tiers. Racer X going to get that Sandstorm kicked back up. It was able to chip the Suicune, but I wouldn't be surprised if we just see the Lando just come immediately out. But no, going for the Scalds into that fat special defense. And Racer X saying, I've got the pursuit. You're stuck in here with me. But no,
Yeah,
swaps out.
swap to the Landorus, which is going to get killed, yeah. Tough breaks there, maybe expecting him to switch out again, but I mean, you kind of had him there. I think you just kind of slam pursuit, but here comes Klefki, and this Pokemon could maybe kill it with a foul play, depending on what Suicune has as well.
Yeah, the problem is you just don't want to start setting up spikes with the clef key or anything like that because you're just going to give this Suicune time to set up and get away with even more. There's a draining kiss.
Yeah, pretty weak attack. But I was just looking at Racer X's team, and I don't really see a Pokemon that has a heal bell type ability. So this Klefki has a clock on it, and probably gonna need to pull it out soon, seeing that Houndoom on the other side. So that's probably what's coming.
Straight into it. If you trust your speed with the clef key, probably not going to be able to do that, but you could go for some kind of fairy attack. But that's also dependent on the clef key's move. It's obviously supporting a lot of support with its prankster ability. He could also be willing to just sack the clef key here to get some status on the Houndoom or just a layer of spikes out. The spikes, I'd say, not worth it. The status effect, it depends on how you're thinking the rest of your team can deal with these threats.
The problem is Reckless can just immediately swap to Sylveon, even though it's not the best matchup. That burn on the clef key is the clock you need. So like you can really just sit. Yeah, so he pulls the clef key. I think that was the right move. And yeah, whatever hidden power that was might be hidden power fire or hidden power.
No, probably not fire on the
Yeah,
Houndoom. Hopefully not.
yeah, hopefully not. Maybe hidden power steel. I don't know. Who knows?
It could have been a ground going after the steel typing.
Maybe, maybe.
Regardless, definitely a call of a swap, but not a call of the correct swap. Otherwise, I would just imagine a flamethrower is an easy decision there.
Yeah, and I think now it's just a question of who you're swapping to if you're reckless. Like you don't really have a great answer to this melodic on board here with your Suicune down. So, but the problem with Suicune is that it doesn't really have a lot of sustain. So, melodic can rest, which is good, maybe even recover.
Oh, and he goes with the Dragon Tail, forcing the Sylveon out, but he doesn't have Hazard, so he's not getting any advantage off of that. The Klefki is still alive, so he could get some Hazards out, but as it stands, also will not be able to Dragon Tail into the Sylveon with its Fairy typing. Let's see if he knows that.
Bow, big damage on the Hyper Voice. And not sure if this Sylveon is spec'd or what, but it's going to be kind of a low roll there. And yeah, there is a rest from Melodic. Not seeing a Resto Chesto, so it's going to be asleep, and we're going to just see some free Hyper Voices. Boom. And that's kind of the flexibility of Sylveon. Just that strong Hyper Voice just makes it so strong. But here comes the Mega, and we'll see if he's packing Fake out. He'll need to Mega Evolve here. And problem is this Pokemon, even with the Psychic typing, is really not good against Sylveon. But Sylveon is more especially defensive typically. So yeah, swapping to the Landorus. I like this swap. Get the Intimidate on it. And yeah, very little damage on the Fake out.
And we're seeing the recoil damage there, so the Lando does have a Rocky Helm. It's probably a more bulky build on the defensive side. And really, the thing is with that Sylveon, Racer X just didn't really have an option to go into it at that point in the game. The Tyranitar is not going to take it particularly well, although it is a specially defensive hoss. There we see its defense is just not really holding up, taking a big hit from that U-turn.
Yeah, and an Earthquake would just crush the Tyranitar. So kind of lucky he's U-turning out now. But the Tyranitar is quite low, and something like the Keldeo or okay, we're gonna see Victini.
I mean, at this point, Reckless is Pokemon to lose if he wants. It's just kind of who he wants to show off here, or who he would want to hide. But yeah, opting into showing off the whole team.
Yeah, I would have liked to see the Keldeo there, but V-Create is going to be really good at finishing off Klefki. And now with the Metacham coming out, yeah, he'll get the fake out here, but once this is over, you just send out your Sylveon or maybe the Landorus to intimidate, and you're all set.
Yeah, even with the defensive buffs, I wouldn't be surprised to see a swap now. Going with the Sylveon, we see the Metacham's damage just massive on that Sylveon.
Yeah, yeah. The Sylveon is definitely built specially defensive, but like I thought, that Hyper Voice is just so strong. And there goes game one. Good play by Reckless. Gonna go into game two, and hopefully Racer X can get a little more value out of the Kyurem there. Because I think it was a type, just, he needs to see the typing and make sure he doesn't get earthquaked.
Yeah, getting good value is definitely going to be a big part. I feel like he just made some very incorrect swaps there, even times where he potentially needed to sack things off. I'd also like to see him just lead with the Clef Key and save that Tyranitar in the Sandstorm, knowing that the Lando can just kind of sit in it.
Alright, same starting Pokemon as we saw last game. Kicking off with, an Ice Punch this time from the Tyranitar. But even the Ice Punch, you see how little damage did into the Landorus because of the Intimidate. Plus, this Landorus is probably impish with fully defensive investment.
Got to be taking an Ice Punch that well. And here we just see Racer X making odd decisions. Would have loved to have seen more of that Ice Punch coming out, but the Pursuit did push damage on it.
Yeah, and here comes the Keldeo. Let's see if he goes with the fighting move. He does with the Focus Blast, so that is pretty big. I wonder if he's just going full special attack or if he's has Secret Sword. Um, but either way, he is pressing the fighting move and not the water move.
Yeah, I think he was possibly expecting Kyurem to come in on that one. Good on Racer X for protecting it a bit, but still scary to take all that damage on your melodic.
I mean, stab Focus Blast. Come on, it's so hard to survive multiple of those. So
Yeah,
looking.
going into Klefki, gonna try and set up a little bit here. It's just gonna let this Keldeo just kind of sit in there and keep pressing damage.
Yeah, it makes me wonder if the Keldeo is specked or scarfed of some kind. But yeah, just kind of slamming Focus Blast. And Reckless One hasn't missed yet, which is pretty impressive.
And we're seeing another rest, but it appears that none of these have like true rest builds. They're just Pokemon with rest, and it's just allowing Reckless to have time to do what he wants. Yeah, it just feels like Racer X's team is just here taking a dirt nap, just rolling around on the ground, not doing too much.
Well, I think wow, there's the power of ground moves into the Houndoom. But I think the fact that Racer X doesn't have a cleanser makes it where you have to run the Chesto Berries if you're running rest on your Pokemon. So, but back to the Keldeo, I think the Tyranitar dies to the Focus Blast here, even though it's specially defensive. I mean, it's stab, and yeah, it's big damage.
Yeah, I think this is a time where you got to make the call and just hope for that miss to come through. And if he dies, you've still got a couple turns of Sandstorm for your Lando to try and knock Rex's team down a notch.
Yeah, that's true. He needs to remember that if he's running the Landorus, oh, yep, there goes the Secret Sword. If he's running the Landorus with Sand Force, he needs to get him out there. But we don't know if this Keldeo is scarfed, specked, banded. We have no idea what it's doing here. We know it's not
Well, we know
lifelormed.
it's not choiced because it's now swapped its moves, correct? Or is
Well,
this a
it
different
this is
entry?
a different entry because he lost the Houndoom and just sent out the Keldeo.
Yeah, yeah, correct.
So let's see. Yeah, just presses Secret Sword again instead of the water move. Earthquake just kills, and okay, this Landorus is life orbed, and I'm assuming with the Tyranitar he's on the Sandforce build, so any attack from this Landorus in the storm is going to be massive.
Yeah, we got to keep our eye on that storm clock there. At this point, we know that the Tyranitar does have an assault vest because the storm's been going for the minimum terms. This is going to be his last turn within the sandstorm. And does he have the coverage for a Suicune?
Yeah, I mean he could. I mean maybe goes superpower and just misses on the damage, and but he presses the Calm Mind, and now I think you just press the Earthquake again, and yeah, kill this thing. Presses knockoff, which is that's fine. Um, I personally would have pressed Earthquake, but it's fine. And
Knockoff gives him a little more flexibility on the switch. As long as it kills, I'm fine with it.
yep, yep. And I'd like to see you get back to the Tyranitar for another storm kickoff here. So maybe you get one more attack out of the Landorus.
The question is, can that Lando survive the rocks at its current health?
I believe the ground typing will insulate it from the 25%. Yes, it will. So now you have one attack, and if you press or yeah, just one attack. If you go Earthquake here, I think it's good. I think it's good because if he swaps to and you're slower, holy moly, the Hyper Voice takes you down. That is just backbreaking here.
And now's where I'm wondering if that Sylveon's just Scarf.
It
Bringing in the
it might
Kyurem,
be.
that could be a great choice here because Dragon typing is going to be weak. But on the same note, the fighting typing on the Metacham would also. And yeah, it
Whew.
just looks like a couple more Hyper Voices will clean this one up.
And just sweeping with the Sylveon. Gotta love it. The best evolution. Big fake out. But on the next attack, we're going to see a big hyper voice. Oh, and the bullet punch, he has two priority moves. That's huge. He's got to go to Landorus T here. Go ahead and get the Intimidate off and start picking this thing down with the Earthquakes.
Can Metacham pull it through? I was ready to write him off. He had the answer for that fast little fairy the whole time.
Well, going with the Victini, interestingly. I think maybe the Landorus isn't at full HP, but this Victini is big damage, so probably faster than the Metacham. So we'll see if he just presses V Create here.
Yeah, Metacham not known for its speed. The Victini psychic typing doing well in insulating. Oh,
And
it just kills that fat V create.
and that'll do there. Reckless One taking down the mysterious Racer X.